Okay, today we're going to be reading a new story called Brothers at Bat. This is a narrative nonfiction. Narrative because it is a story. It has character, setting, plot. Nonfiction because it's actually a true story. It's real information. So it's going to have its events in order because when it's real information, that information is usually shared in a specific sequence. And oftentimes that is a chronological or time order. I threw in a new slide today, and this slide is to remind you of the things we've been learning so far in this unit on teamwork. So these are all skills that will be on the test, and you can see that conflict resolution or problem solution, author's purpose, theme, plot, all of these are things that we've been working on over the past couple weeks, and these are all going to be skills that are on the test. If you look at this week, we're going to be talking about points of view, text structure, topics, and then we're going to be talking about figurative language, another way that authors use words to make the text more interesting and exciting to read. Today our focus is on making and confirm predictions. I know this wasn't on our list of skills. That's because this isn't a skill, this is a strategy. Remember all of our thinking strategies that help us understand our text. Today, we're going to focus on the thinking strategy of predict. We also have other thinking strategies that we will be using today because it's just natural. When you're reading, you're doing all this thinking. But today, we're really going to focus and hone in on our predictions. So our objective is to make, correct, and confirm predictions based on our text features. We're going to look at illustrations and make predictions. Pause and think, what will happen next? Read to see if I'm correct, and then change my thinking if I'm not correct. It's important to make and confirm predictions because it keeps me engaged with the characters. I can really understand what's going on with the characters and their moods and their motivations. Before we begin reading, I want you to take a moment to think about the title, Brothers at Bat. Type in the box what you already know. And what do you want to learn about baseball? So our success criteria to be successful today is to look at the illustrations and make predictions. Pause in my reading and make predictions. I should say, I think this is going to happen next. And then read to see if I'm correct. If I'm not correct, change my thinking. So let's just look at the title at first. The title says Brothers at Bat. I see on the cover page here, we have someone with a bat. We have a lot of names signed on his bat, so he must be pretty important. I see a whole team sitting on the bench wearing the same uniform. And the yellow words up here say the true story of an amazing all-brother baseball team. All brother? Could these really be all brothers? I don't know. After looking at the cover, I noticed it said the true story of an amazing all-brother baseball team. I also see a bunch of guys in their baseball uniform. So I think some of the guys are brothers who are playing on the same team. I can't imagine all of them being brothers. Okay, before we start reading, it's important to know who is telling the story. So who is telling the story? What is the point of view? I see the words three brothers, but I don't see words like I or me or he or she on this page. I'm going to begin reading. When winter's chill melts into spring, back doors swing open and slap shut as kids just home from school run outside, mitts, bats, and balls in hand. In one New Jersey town near the ocean, back in the 1920s and 30s, you could hear the same door slam over and over. Three brothers raced out. Out went three more, and more, and more. Huh, maybe I was wrong. Could they all be brothers? I see that it says here that kids were just coming home from school and three brothers raced out. Out went three more and more. I'm still not convinced they're all brothers. So I wonder if these boys are from different families, or are all these boys from the same family? The door looks the same, so I think they're coming from the same house. It sounds like a fairy tale. 12 baseball playing brothers. But Anthony, Joe, Paul, Alfred, Charlie, Jimmy, Bobby, Billy, Freddie, Eddie, Bubby, and Louie Sarah were real. They had 4 sisters too: Catherine, Florence, Rosina, and Frances, and a white dog named Pitch. The sisters didn't play ball. Back then, most people thought sports were just for boys. So they are all brothers. There are 12 brothers and 4 sisters. That's 16 kids. That's a lot. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just read some more of the story, and then we'll make more predictions. The Asaras had so many kids that they slept 2 to a bed and sat 3 across in their outdoor bathroom. They ate dinner where they could find a seat. Even on a baseball field, there were more boys than positions. But that didn't stop them from playing. Baseball set the rhythm of their lives. Every spring, Freddie said, you would take your glove out and go in the yard and play. Neighbors couldn't recall a time when there weren't Asara boys outside tossing the ball, hitting it hard, racing around, with the young ones watching, wishing they were old enough to play. Their high school baseball team had an Asara on it for 22 years in a row. In 1938, the brothers ranged in age from 7 to 32. The oldest 9 formed their own semi-pro team and competed against other New Jersey teams. Their father coached them and never missed a game. Their uniforms all said the same thing: Asaras. So they are all brothers playing baseball. And it says the oldest 9 formed a semi-pro team. I wonder if that's why they were important enough to write a book about them. Did they become famous? The infields they played on were dirt. Outfields were littered with rocks and sand. The brothers loved to talk about the day they played at the old dog track, an oceanfront stadium that had once been an auto raceway. It was there that Anthony, the oldest, hit a couple of home runs right into the Atlantic Ocean. They called Anthony Poser because of the way he'd stand at the plate, as if his baseball card photo were being taken. Charlie, the 5th oldest, was the slowest brother. He was a good player but a terrible runner. The brothers often joked about the time he hit a ball nearly out of the park, but only made it to second. Jimmy, the 6th brother, had a knuckleball people still talk about. You couldn't hit it, Eddie said. You couldn't catch it either. That ball danced in the air. Jimmy was a great hitter, too, probably the best player on the team. But there was no jealousy, no rivalry, no fighting. As the younger brothers grew up, the older ones shared playing time. If someone dropped a fly ball or struck out, no one screamed or threw down his glove or stomped off the field. We stuck together, Freddie said. The team played around New Jersey, in New York, Connecticut, wherever they could find a good game. Paul sent out letters looking for new teams to play. The all-brother team always drew big crowds. So maybe that is why they're famous. They traveled around and played in 3 different states. That's pretty exciting. In 1939, at the New York's World's Fair, the Asaras were honored as the biggest family in New Jersey. They were taken to Newark Airport, where they boarded a plane and were flown over the fairgrounds. They couldn't believe it. No one they knew had been on a plane before. Most of the people at the World's Fair, looking up at the small plane in the sky, had no idea there was a whole team of brothers aboard. But it wasn't all fun and games and sunny skies. Their darkest day occurred on the field, too. Oh my, I wonder what the darkest day is going to be. Freddie was on third base in a scoreless game. Alfred was at the plate. He touched his shoulder, the signal that he was going to bunt. Then things went wrong. The pitch came in high, and somehow the ball bounced off the bat and hit Alfred hard, right in the face. They rushed him to the doctor. but he lost an eye. Oh no, he lost an eye. What do you think will happen next? I think Alfred will have to quit playing baseball. I wonder if one of the younger brothers will be able to join the team so they can keep playing. They rushed him to the doctor, but he lost an eye. For the next few months, Eddie took Alfred's place as catcher. Everyone thought Alfred's baseball days were over. But when you have 11 brothers willing to throw you balls in the yard, gently at first and then a bit harder, you get your skills back. You get your courage back, too. Alfred was soon wearing the Acera's uniform again. He was a pretty good catcher for a guy with one eye, Freddie said. So I was wrong. Alfred did learn to play baseball with only one eye. It's pretty amazing. That's a really good family to help him through that. So I'm going to read this page, then you're going to work on your own. In the 1940s, something pulled the brothers' attention away from baseball. American soldiers were fighting in the Second World War across the Atlantic, that same huge ocean Poser had hit baseballs into. Battles were raging and soldiers were dying, but the brothers knew it was important to fight for their country. The team disbanded as 6 Acera brothers joined the service. Poser was the first to go. He, Charlie, Eddie, and Bobby all served in the Army. After Billy joined the Marines, Freddie did too. So what do you think is going to happen next? Put that in the top box. Then read the rest of this story on your own, either in your purple book, or you can go to Ed and open up the story in Ed. If you've lost your purple book, I've placed it in assignments, or you can just open your book on Ed and find that story. And then write, were you correct in your prediction? And then submit your assignment. We'll go over that this afternoon.